Rain was falling heavily that night, relentless downpour that seemed to wash away the sounds of the city. A 22-year-old college girl suddenly disappeared into the shadows, leaving behind nothing but a chilling trail of questions and one final voice note sent to her best friend. At the start, the police dismissed it, assuming it was just another routine missing person case that would resolve itself by morning. But 3 days later, the investigation took a dark and permanent turn. Her phone was discovered abandoned inside a rusted taxi parked near the edge of the river, its screen cracked but still functional. When detectives played back the final message and listened carefully to those last 7 haunting seconds, the air in the room turned cold. In the background, buried under the static, they heard a man's voice whispering a terrifying realization. She knows too much. This case didn't just make headlines. It shocked the entire city to its core. The horror wasn't just in the crime itself, but in the identity of the person responsible. The killer wasn't a faceless stranger hiding in the dark. He was a pillar of the community, someone everyone trusted, someone no one would ever suspect. The girl who never came home. Her name was Emily Carter. To those who knew her, she was a smart, quiet college student with a bright future, living a modest life with her mother in a small, cluttered apartment in the heart of Chicago. Emily was a creature of habit, a girl who valued safety and routine. Every single evening, without fail, she returned home before the clock struck 8 p.m. Always. But on the night of October 17th, the routine was shattered. The 8 p.m. mark passed, and the front door remained locked. She never came back. At first, her mother tried to rationalize the fear creeping into her heart, thinking perhaps Emily's phone battery had simply died or she had lost track of time at the library. But as the hours stretched into the dead of night, the silence became deafening. Every call went straight to voicemail. Then, at exactly 1:13 a.m., the silence was broken. Emily's best friend, Jessica Miller, received a notification, a strange, frantic voice note. The audio was a nightmare captured in digital form. Emily's voice sounded rushed, shaky, and thick with pure, unadulterated terror. "Jessica, if anything happens to me, please don't trust." The audio suddenly cut off with a sharp, violent sound. Then nothing but total silence. Jessica tried calling back immediately, her heart hammering against her ribs, but there was no answer. That was the exact moment the realization hit. The moment fear began spreading like a poison through the city. Emily wasn't just late. She was gone. The next morning, the investigation moved into high gear as police began meticulously checking CCTV cameras scattered around the university perimeter. Under the cold, flickering glow of the monitors, they found what they were looking for. At exactly 7:42 p.m., the grainy footage showed Emily leaving the campus gates alone, clutching a black umbrella against the driving rain. Never truly existed. With the trail of the car going cold, investigators pivoted, turning their attention to those closest to Emily. They interrogated everyone, her inner circle of friends, her classmates, and even her professors. Then, they sat down with her boyfriend, Ryan Brooks. On the surface, Ryan was the picture of a grieving partner, a calm, polite young man pursuing a business degree who seemed absolutely devastated by the news. During the initial questioning, he even broke down in tears, his face buried in his hands as he mourned his missing girlfriend. But Detective Daniel Hayes, a seasoned veteran of the force, noticed a subtle, unsettling pattern in Ryan's behavior. Throughout the entire interview, Ryan didn't ask if Emily was still alive. He didn't ask if they had found any trace of her clothes or her location. Instead, he kept circling back to one specific, haunting question. When the police finally stepped into Emily's apartment, they expected to find a struggle or perhaps a ransacked room. Instead, they discovered something far more calculated and shocking. Her laptop was missing. The scene was unsettlingly organized. Nothing else of value had been touched. Her cash was still in her drawer, and her expensive jewelry sat undisturbed on the vanity. Only the laptop was gone. This realization changed the entire trajectory of the investigation. The detectives were no longer looking for a random predator or a crime of opportunity. This wasn't a kidnapping born of madness. It was a surgical operation to retrieve information. But what could a 22-year-old student possibly have that was worth killing for? Emily was supposed to be just another college girl focused on her exams, or so everyone thought. The truth, however, was buried much deeper than her textbooks. The breakthrough didn't come from the physical apartment, but from the digital shadows Emily left behind. A specialized forensic team managed to bypass layers of encryption to recover deleted files from Emily's private cloud account. Deep within the architecture of her digital life, they found a hidden folder protected by a complex password and titled with a haunting warning. If something happens. As the detectives clicked through the files, the magnitude of Emily's secret began to unfold. The folder was a digital vault containing high-resolution screenshots, records of untraceable bank transfers, and candid, secret photos taken from the shadows. Most chilling of all were the audio recordings, clandestine meetings between high-ranking powerful businessmen and influential politicians. The evidence was undeniable. Millions of dollars were being siphoned through illegal channels in a massive money laundering scheme. It turned out that while working a seemingly boring part-time job for a media research company, Emily had accidentally stumbled upon a massive corruption network. She wasn't just a student. She had become an accidental whistleblower. She had been documenting the very people who ran the city, and unfortunately for Emily, someone in that network had found out exactly what she was hiding. 3 days later, the investigation took a cinematic and grim turn when police received a frantic anonymous call. An abandoned taxi had been discovered, half hidden in the dense brush near the riverbanks just outside the city limits. Inside the vehicle, the atmosphere was heavy with the smell of damp leather and old secrets. They found Emily's phone tucked deep under the back seat, as if someone had tried to discard it in a hurry. The driver was nowhere to be found, completely vanished, but there was a smear of dried blood on the passenger door, a silent witness to a violent struggle. Detectives immediately rushed the device to the lab for analysis. Most of the files had been meticulously wiped, but the perpetrators had made one fatal mistake. They had missed that final, haunting voice note. This time, forensic experts used advanced audio enhancement to peel back the layers of static and rain. What they heard emerging from the background changed the entire case in a single heartbeat. A cold, male voice whispered, "Take her phone." Then, another voice replied with a command that made the detective's blood run cold. Ryan said no marks on her face. The room went deathly silent. Her boyfriend's name hadn't just appeared in the investigation. It was now the central link to a kidnapping. The police moved swiftly, bringing Ryan Brooks back into the sterile, brightly lit interrogation room. This time, the friendly questions were gone. Detectives laid out the enhanced audio evidence, playing the recording back so Ryan could hear his own name being used by a kidnapper. For a long, agonizing moment, Ryan froze. But then, his expression shifted in a way no one expected. He didn't break down, and he didn't look nervous. Instead, a slow, dark smile spread across his face, a look of pure chilling confidence that terrified everyone watching through the one-way glass. After hours of intense, high-pressure questioning, the facade of the business student finally crumbled, and the truth started leaking out like a dark stain. Ryan wasn't a normal student at all. He was living a dangerous double life, working as a fixer for a powerful businessman involved in high-stakes money laundering. Months earlier, Emily had accidentally stumbled upon sensitive financial documents directly linked to Ryan's boss. She was a girl of integrity and had planned to expose the entire operation anonymously to protect herself. But Ryan, ever vigilant, had found out. At first, he claimed he tried to play the role of the protective boyfriend, convincing her to stay quiet for her own safety. But Emily's moral compass was too strong, and she refused to look the other way. Fearing for his own life and his career, Ryan and his associates made a plan to handle the situation. Haunting voice note. This time, forensic experts used advanced audio enhancement to peel back the layers of static and rain. What they heard emerging from the background changed the entire case in a single heartbeat. A cold, male voice whispered, "Take her phone." Then, another voice replied with a command that made the detective's blood run cold. Ryan said no marks on her face. The room went deathly silent. Her boyfriend's name hadn't just appeared in the investigation. It was now the central link to a kidnapping. The police moved swiftly, bringing Ryan Brooks back into the sterile, brightly lit interrogation room. This time, the friendly questions were gone. Detectives laid out the enhanced audio evidence, playing the recording back so Ryan could hear his own name being used by a kidnapper. For a long, agonizing moment, Ryan froze. But then, his expression shifted in a way no one expected. He didn't break down, and he didn't look nervous. Instead, a slow, dark smile spread across his face, a look of pure chilling confidence that terrified everyone watching through the one-way glass. After hours of intense, high-pressure questioning, the facade of the business student finally crumbled, and the truth started leaking out like a dark stain. Ryan wasn't a normal student at all. He was living a dangerous double life, working as a fixer for a powerful businessman involved in high-stakes money laundering. Months earlier, Emily had accidentally stumbled upon sensitive financial documents directly linked to Ryan's boss. She was a girl of integrity and had planned to expose the entire operation anonymously to protect herself. But Ryan, ever vigilant, had found out. At first, he claimed he tried to play the role of the protective boyfriend, convincing her to stay quiet for her own safety. But Emily's moral compass was too strong, and she refused to look the other way. Fearing for his own life and his career, Ryan and his associates made a plan to handle the situation, to scare her into silence. At least, that's the story Ryan tried to sell the detectives. But in the world of crime and corruption, things rarely go as planned, and on that rainy night, the plan went horribly, tragically wrong. The investigation finally gained momentum when police tracked down the elusive taxi driver who had been hiding in a distant city, hoping to outrun his past. His name was Michael Turner. At first, he maintained a wall of denial, claiming he knew nothing of the girl or the car. But when detectives slammed his own phone records onto the table, showing the flurry of calls between him and Ryan on the night of the disappearance, his composure shattered. He broke down in a fit of hysterical tears, the weight of the secret finally becoming too heavy to carry. Michael confessed the entire sordid truth. Ryan Brooks had paid him a significant sum of money to facilitate the abduction of Emily Carter. According to Michael, the original plan was supposed to be simple and bloodless. They were to seize her phone, delete the incriminating evidence of the corruption network, and threaten her until she was too terrified to speak. They promised to release her afterward. But the plan spiraled into chaos the moment they grabbed her. Desperate to survive, Emily fought back with everything she had, attempting to hurl herself from the moving taxi to escape her captors. In the struggle, she fell and hit her head with sickening force against the metal frame of the car. Panic spread through the vehicle like a virus. Instead of seeking medical help or showing a shred of humanity, they realized she was now a liability. They turned the car toward the dark, rushing waters of the river, and that was the exact moment a kidnapping transformed into a cold-blooded murder. The search for Emily shifted from a rescue mission to a recovery operation. For 2 grueling days, police and forensic teams combed every inch of the rugged riverbank area, battling the elements and the terrain. Finally, the search reached its grim conclusion when a team noticed a patch of strangely disturbed soil hidden beneath the decaying shadow of an old, rusted bridge. Buried deep beneath the cold earth was the body of Emily Carter. The news of the discovery sent a shockwave through the entire city, paralyzing the community with grief and rage. News channels covered the story nonstop, broadcasting her face into every home, and thousands of strangers joined her family to attend a funeral that felt more like a citywide wake. But the most harrowing part of the case didn't come until the autopsy results were released. Forensic experts made a discovery that would haunt the investigation and the public forever. Emily Carter hadn't died instantly from her head injury. The examination revealed that she had been alive for several agonizing hours after being buried. There were clear signs that she had regained consciousness in the dark and had desperately tried clawing her way upward through the heavy soil, fighting for one last breath of air that never came. That single, horrific detail was so disturbing that even the most hardened, veteran detectives struggled to sleep in the weeks that followed. The girl who knew too much had been silenced in the most brutal way imaginable. The case seemed over. Ryan blamed the driver. The driver blamed Ryan. Both were arrested. But Detective Daniel Hayes still felt something didn't fit. Then he noticed one strange detail. The anonymous caller who revealed the taxi location used a disposable phone connected to a tower near businessman Victor Kane's office. Police secretly investigated further and uncovered the final truth. Victor Kane had ordered everything. Ryan and Michael were only pawns. When the kidnapping failed, Victor ordered them to finish the problem. And to make sure nobody talked afterward, he planned to eliminate Ryan too. That anonymous call about the taxi? It wasn't guilt. It was cleanup. Someone wanted police to find the taxi before more evidence appeared. Ending. Months later, Victor Kane was arrested during a dramatic midnight raid. Hidden offshore accounts worth millions were exposed. Corrupt officials lost their positions. But for Emily's mother, justice changed nothing. Her daughter never came home. And even today, people still replay that final voice note online, trying to hear hidden clues in the background. Because one terrified sentence exposed an entire criminal network. If anything happens to me, and sadly, something did. If you enjoyed this crime mystery story, subscribe for more dark mysteries, suspense stories, and shocking crime investigations every week. And remember, sometimes the most dangerous people are the ones closest to us.